Okay, 8 alphas, 5.11 seconds.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to an episode of Grey Man Operation. So very rarely do I do this where I recommend things. I really don't like to do it, but I've learned so much from this person and his teachings that I thought the right way to do it would be to make a video about perhaps why I would think or I would recommend you go and give this particular instructor an opportunity. We're going to be talking about concealment training. The main guy there is Anton. I have no affiliation to this particular instructor or his institution. I don't get money from him. This is literally my opinion based on my own desire to present my opinion. The only people I earn any kind of money from are my patrons. If you are a patron in this video, we are giving away a side gear plate carrier with this front panel as well as ballistic side panels. That is this week and next week, and that plate carrier is super slick. There are two level 3, come on, there are two level 3 plates in here, and look how slick that is. You could put this thing in a backpack for easy transport. Then at the end of June, we are giving away, now this has changed, we're giving away a Canik Meta SF or a Canik MC9 with a red dot. But because we weren't able to secure a weapon mounted light, we are going to throw in a stealth Kydex holster for either the Meta SF or the MC9. I don't have an MC9 one to show you right now. I'll try to get my hands on one so I can show you how those guys run. I've been running mine in my SFX and so far so good. Let's get to the video. I'm going to do 5 reasons as to why you might want to consider training with concealment training. Reason number 1 is that it's one-on-one training. I can't stress enough the value of having access to a one-on-one instructor. This is important because when you go to a class, of which I've been to many, the class can only progress as far or as quickly as the weakest student. Now, I don't say weakest in any kind of derogatory term. Everybody is where they are, and everybody at some point was the weakest student. And the weakest student is there because he is the weakest student. He wants to get better. So there's no disrespect meant, but the reality of it is, when you do a group class, the instructor can only push the class as hard as the weakest student. Also, one-on-one attention is vital.
Just do 5 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holster. Do it again, push the speed slightly more, and then increase the speed every single time, but maintain the same relaxation.
Okay. If you can have an instructor looking at your hands, looking at your shoulders, looking at the way the firearm moves in your hand, that instructor is much more capable of diagnosing little nuanced things that can bring about quite scalable improvement in your shooting. Shooting is a very fine motor skill event, okay? Contrary to what people believe, it's a very fine motor skill event. And often with things like that, fine things make quite a large difference, and you as the shooter can't often pick it up, even if you record yourself, because you're not an expert. This isn't what you do, so you don't know what the little things are that you need to look for. Reason number 2 is the after-training service. Most of the times when you do a course, and those of you who have done courses will know, you do the course, that's done, and you never hear from the instructor again, and they never hear from you again. Or you hear from them the next time they're running a course in your area. Nothing wrong with that, that's how it's done. But with Anton, it's a bit different. You get a constant stream of WhatsApp messages that's designed and tailored to improve your shooting capability. For example, I'll just read you one, and I hope he's not going to be upset with the fact that I'm reading this. Dry fire training is important, doing it correctly though. I will list mistakes people make when practicing at home. 1, inconsistent grip. This gripping the gun differently every time you form your grip. Make sure there's no gaps between palms. Strong hands need to be up against the beaver tail. Supporter needs to be as high up on the gun as possible. Grip pressure not consistent. The supporter hand needs to grip very hard. The strong hand needs to grip not nearly the same but firm. Things like that. It's a whole long WhatsApp. Okay, so the after training information that you get fed until the next training course, because in reality, guys, most of what you learn in a training course it sows the seed. You have to go home and water that plant so that it becomes a tree. That's such a great analogy. Should write that one down. So point number 3 is pushing limits.
Beautiful. That's what I want.
In my experience in training with Anton, I can't speak for every single person that he trains. I can only talk for myself. You are never at a point of comfortability. So I got nervous when I can tell you what happened. I got nervous the first time. When I hit the target there, I relaxed because I knew, okay, I can do this. Then over here, I was like nervous again because you said I had to go faster again. So it's like a lot in my fucking head. Always pushing your limit to a point where you're uncomfortable. This is such an important facet of training because I find that there are certain courses, especially in the beginner phase, where it's more about making you feel good about yourself than it is about actually becoming super proficient with a gun. Point number 4 is accessibility. So these courses are one-on-one most of the time. They are available during the week on certain days, but also on Saturdays, and they are only an hour long. Because you're getting an instructor that's paying direct 100% attention to you, the course doesn't have to be 6 hours long. Okay, you can basically knowledge dump information onto a student, not obviously so much that the student can handle it, and that's where the instructor has to have discernment between the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But you can knowledge dump that information in the student in a shorter time span. A lot of us, well, most of us, I hope, unless we are truly wealthy, are working jobs. And so the ability to spend an entire Saturday, an entire Sunday doing a course is difficult because we work a job, we're tired, and doing courses after hours I've done it, it's just not cool to work an entire day and then have to go to a course after hours for like 6 hours. So having the ability to have the course be accessible is so important because very often the barrier to training is the accessibility of the course. And then lastly, Anton is a professional instructor. What I like about professional instructors is they can do everything they're asking you to do and they can show you how to do it. This is so important because at the end of the day, if you can't run a sub-second draw stroke, it's going to be impossible for you to explain to someone how to run a sub-second draw stroke. Decrease the time between that last shot and the first shot.
Check it out. Okay, check now. I'm going to shoot one shot. But check how quickly I come off that target to this one.
Okay.
It's almost like the gun, while it's recoiling, I'm moving.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying if you're like someone who could do it, but you've gotten older now, that you then can't explain. If you were a world championship level shooter and you just gotten a bit older, and as you get older, you get a bit slower, you still have an incredible amount of information to pass on. Okay, and that information is still valid. But as an instructor, more often than not, you either need to say that you could do what they're asking you to do and prove it, or that you can do what they're asking you to do and prove it. Anton can always demonstrate what he asks you to do, and this gives you great confidence that it can be done. I strongly recommend everybody who is a firearm owner gets professional instruction. And I would go so far as to say, if you can get one-on-one instruction, rather spend a bit more and get one-on-one instruction over getting group instruction. If you can't get one-on-one, go for the group. But try to look out for the guys who are professional instructors, who are high-level shooters, and try to budget for one-on-one instruction because you will learn so much more and the value of your money would be so much better spent. There is just 2 quick things I want to do. I've got to give away a plate carrier in this video, but before that, guys, on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of June at Para Arms, I'll leave the pop-up on the screen. You might be able to scan that QR code and get access to it if you can scan your TV with your phone. At Para Arms, the guys from MultiDimension Warriors, Mark Human, is doing a course called Both Sides of Bang, and it's basically, from what I understand, it's a 3-day course, starting Friday evening, Saturday, and then Sunday morning to afternoon. And it's basically focused on what you do before you use your firearm, what you do during your firearm, and what you do after you use your firearm. So there's legal, there's physical, there's everything involved. Food is brought, food is involved as well. It's bought and paid for if you do pay to do the course. So get in contact with those guys if you are in Cape Town. It's going to be held at at Paro Arms. You're going to be seeing a lot more of it on my social media, so get used to it. I'm always encouraging people to get as much training as possible. So give that a look if you want to get some training in, if you want to understand the intricacies of Africa about what you should do, what is a precursor for when you can use your firearm, and what you should do after you use your firearm. There's going to be like role playing where I believe they're going to like have like a mock trial where they tell you what you should and shouldn't say, that sort of thing. And it's endorsed by SAGA, the South African Gun Owners Association. So definitely check that out. Let's switch the view and give away a plate carrier to one of my patrons.
Okay guys, let's do this draw. So those of you who follow on Patreon will know what this is all about. I'm going to copy the names of my active patrons and paste them into a name randomizer application. This is going to randomize the order of the names and add a number to it. So we have 318 names that have been randomized, and we have currently 318 patrons. I'm then going to take the numbers that correspond to the original names, copy that, and paste it into a random wheel of names. Just wait for the second for this to load, and we scroll to the bottom. There should be 318 with an extra space, which I'll remove. 318 entries. I'm going to shuffle it, and then I'm going to click to spin, and the number this lands on that corresponds to the name in the name randomizer is the first winner of this week's plate carrier, and it is number 172. So if we go to our randomized names, let's find 172 is Norbert Stolkamp. So well done to you, Norbert. I will make contact with you on Patreon and get that plate carrier sent off to you. Remember guys, we're giving away another one next week on Patreon, and then at the end of June we're giving away a Meta SF or MC9. The Patreon winner will get to choose. Let's switch the view and end off.
So well done to that patron, guys. Remember, if you want to become a patron, you can do so via the first link in the video description below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, it is the first comment. Remember, at the end of June, before the end of June, next week we're giving away another plate carrier to our patrons. And at the end of June, we're giving away a firearm to our patrons, either a Canik MC9 or a Canik Meta SF. The patron's going to have the option to choose. And then we're also giving away a Stealth Kydex holster with whichever one they pick. I always want to bring you content that can potentially save your money and save your life. And I think with what Anton is doing in the industry, doing one-on-one classes is something we've needed for a while. So please, if you are in the area or you want to come get some training by him, please check him out and see if you can make it happen. That's it guys. I'll catch you next week for another video. Have a good week. Be safe. Train hard. Cheers. God bless.